So I want to invite you this morning to join me in a little bit of a movement flow, a heart flow. And so get into a comfortable position, sitting preferably on the floor or on a chair or the side of the bed, but in a way that you're comfortable and can be fairly relaxed. Take a moment to let your breath soften, just to become aware of the air moving into your nostrils and releasing the air from your rib cage back out of your nostrils, and in, letting it fill that whole chest and abdominal cavity, and back out. Feeling your sit bones on whatever you're sitting on. Feeling your connection in some way to the ground beneath you. Going lower than that still, right into the earth. And you know how when you put your hands into soil, it's kind of warm and cool at the same time. So get that sense of that warm coolness moving, feeding your energy field, your body systems. And if these aren't things that are normally in your vocabulary or in your awareness, just go with it. Just be curious, be imaginative, like you're drawing a picture or watching a movie. Just let it be possible in this moment. And you're slowly starting to get a sense of your shoulders, just moving a little bit left, right, a little bit forwards, backwards. Not placing any meaning or judgment on the movement you're creating, where it's coming from. Notice any shift that's happening in your breath. And you can start to increase your movement by kind of pushing off one knee with your hand, going across to the other knee. So you're just building a slightly bigger movement. Letting it be whatever comes up. Not controlling it, witnessing it. And now just putting one hand on the front of your chest. And you're just thinking of a spiral in your chest that's quite small, right at the center between your breastbone and your spine. And as you move, that is building like a ripple on a pond. You know how a ripple kind of has this little edge to it? Imagine that as the spiral grows. You can slow it down, you can make the movement smaller even as you're imagining the ripple grow. And the movement of your shoulders can still be a kind of figure of 8 almost that comes through this heart-centered space. As you visualize this spiral growing, this ripple growing from your heart forwards, backwards and out to the sides. And maybe then you want to drop your hands so that you can loosen your shoulders a bit more. And as we've put our awareness further down into our body, into a different center than the thinking center that we always live in, live in. We're actually letting the energy and the awareness drop. And in doing that, we create more power within ourselves. And we start to become more resourced from within. And from this place, we can generate self-care, self-compassion, self-responsibility. So important to have all of those. And of course, as we're doing this, we're changing our fascial connection. We are changing our neurological connection, and we're also building that awareness in our body. So the fascial connection is this movement, and this changing of our breath actually lets the tissues move slightly differently against each other, lets the fluids that infiltrate between and within all the tissues move differently and nourish us. It amplifies all the different receptors and cells that want to bring information in and out of the cells. And through the nervous system, we're changing our parasympathetic sympathetic balance, where we're dropping more into that vagal expression. And this starts to get us more into gut health as well. So we're allowing those different systems and intelligences of our body to speak to each other and to become our resources. And if we just stay curious and connected, stay compassionate and courageous with the uncertainty and the unfamiliarity of the movement and the flow. And like you'll see that my rhythm has changed regularly. The structure of what I'm doing has changed. It doesn't necessarily look one way or another way. And that's totally okay, because I'm just staying with it. And sometimes I'll come into it a bit more and connect with it rather than what I'm saying. And it will change again, and it changes my breath. And that's a real sign as well that, like a cat stretching, it's a real sign that we're getting changes in the fascia and the nervous system. And as you connect as well into these spaces in yourself, what space can you make for forgiveness? Whether it's of something in yourself or something outside of you, something that's happened in the past, something that's current, something much bigger in the world. How can you let that be while still holding your own sense of self-value, self-care and compassion, your curiosity and your courage to just be in the moment, to just be in this space with yourself. And if your mind has drifted off, you can put your hand back on the front of your chest. Think of that same space at the back between your shoulder blades. And again, just come back to that spiral, to the way that figure of 8 crosses through the center of that spiral and letting that ripple back out, because what you're amplifying is yourself. And I mean that with a capital S, and all the things that I've spoken about. Because whilst we value material form and structure, and we generally bring that from outside of us, and there's a sense of compression in that, we also need decompression. And the expressions of each human to go from the left and right side of the brain, the structured and the what's the right word to match the structuredness. And the word that comes up for me is poetic. It's going to encompass lots of different things. The masculine and feminine expressions in each of us. And we always think as humans about either or. And I really encourage you to bring in this and. And when it comes to ourselves and others, there's a separateness and a togetherness. It doesn't have to be either or. So as you think about this spiral coming through and these aspects of how you're connecting with your capital S self, think also about how that separateness and sense of self can work alongside the togetherness of being with others, and how important that is for us. Can we really build this sense of awareness and consciousness of being as one, even through our differences? That otherness does not need to be divisive, even though we are all separate. And I invite you to come back down into that awareness of the heart center, of your sit bones on whatever you're sitting on, of the warm coolness of the soil and the grounds beneath you, however far beneath you that is, and bringing all that back up together. And starting to feel really how much more open and soft your tissues feel, how warm and nourished. And I really invite you to go with whatever intuitive movement your body wants to generate that comes up from the tissues, that feels like that natural stretch. You have no idea where it begins and ends. You just go with it. And it feels really good. And that's a real attendance and witnessing of self. So let yourself know that, let yourself be in it and enjoy it, and have a beautiful weekend.